Welcome to this week's episode of the Last Night's Game podcast. This one I'm really looking forward to. Not that I'm not looking forward to every week, but we're talking about a casual guide to talking golf, even if you don't play. That's me. So, here to share all his golf wisdom with us is my favorite co host, my favorite brother, Scott. Scott, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me on. Excited to talk golf. Golf is a great equalizer, right? You don't have to be 6'10" or able to run 100 meters in 10 seconds. It doesn't matter. Any body type can play, any age can play. And it's the ultimate networking event because you have so much time to hang out in between shots. And it can be a little intimidating. Some of the verbiage is not used to. Like many people have asked us many questions when we get to like the major tournaments, what's going on. So we thought we'd jump on here to talk about it.
Well, I think it's great because I myself specifically, and I've heard stories of other women who are in business who
Mhm.
have been left off the course, no pun intended, I guess, left off for golf tournaments, etc., because we don't play.
Mhm.
In fact, I have a friend who told me a story that they literally skipped over her, knowing that she doesn't play, and went and asked somebody else on her team lower than her because she doesn't play golf. And so, when you look at it from that perspective, it's an opportunity that we can have. I
Yes.
don't know how to golf that well, but I can talk about golf enough. I will have plenty of questions for you, but I
Yes.
think there's a huge opportunity to turn this into a game changer and be
Yes.
able to at least join the golf conversation. And so I have a bunch of questions for you from our listeners and from social, but I guess kind of give us a basic about golf. Like, what are the basic rules of golf?
Okay. Yeah. We'll start the very beginning. And the first message about golf is that everyone sucks most of the time. So if you don't think you're good, it doesn't matter. No one's good at times. Even Tiger Woods has bad days. So who cares?
True,
Whatever.
true.
If you hit a ball in the water, it doesn't really matter. Just go out and have fun and enjoy yourself. All right. We'll start kind of at the beginning, just with some golf terms, if you will. One of the major terms you're going to hear is a par. That is, you're going to hear that all day, every day of a golf tournament. And par is like the expected strokes on a hole. So we have a par 3, a par 4, and a par 5 are your standard 3 holes.
Okay, so that means like I have to hit the ball
Mhm.
in order to like break even.
Yes. Yeah, break even
Is I
essentially.
have to hit the ball within 3 strokes into the hole.
Correct. And that would
Okay.
be a par. And that, if you can shoot a par, that is incredible. Like that's amazing. And typically a par 3 is going to be roughly 100 yards, give or take. It can kind of vary. And then obviously par 4 is going to be longer, closer to 300 to 400 yards. And then a par 5 would be, they can go anywhere from 300 to 500 yards, depending on where you hit from.
So, question is,
Yes.
distance plays into the par. Does like the difficulty of the actual like hole, like are there sand traps or anything, does that play into whether you get more strokes or not, or is it purely distance?
It's a combination of both.
Okay.
Par 4s can be really long or really semi-long, depending on the heart of the hole, but typically it's mostly distance.
So when you're watching a golf tournament and
Mhm.
they say, like Tiger Woods is 5 under par, that
Yes,
means there's a set score for that golf course
there
and
is.
he's
Yes,
hit it 5 better than that.
correct. It's typically about 70, 71, 72, roughly, depending on the course. It's around the 70s. Most people shoot in the hundreds, so
Okay. Under par is good.
under par
Over
is
par
incredible.
is
Is
not as
is
ideal.
is bad. And we can run through the scoring system because it's not your typical basketball. You shoot a 3-pointer, you get 3 points, or baseball, you hit a home run, you get a run, or soccer, you get a goal. That's one goal. So golf's different. So the lower your score, the negative is better. Obviously, and how you get that would be the best one's a hole in one. Obviously, that's a little self-explanatory, and that's typically going to happen on a par 3 because they are shorter. People can get a hole in one on par 4s. Someone maybe like a Bryson DeChambeau and
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore, someone who can just crush the ball and hit it very far. It's possible. From there, we go to most like an eagle would be 2 shots under par.
Okay.
So if you're on a par 4 and you made it in 2 shots. That would be an eagle.
Eagle is
And that's
good.
how you get
Okay.
2 shots below par, so that would put you at -2 on that
Okay.
hole. Then the most common would be a birdie,
Okay.
which would be 1 shot under par. So if it was a par 4 and you shot a 3,
Do you
that
know
would
what?
give you -1.
Okay. So eagle -2, birdie -1.
Yes.
Why are they all named after birds?
This is a wonderful question that's actually we did not know.
Okay. I was just curious. I'm like,
It
why?
might have something to do with when they created the game back in, I think, Scotland, that there was a lot of birds and maybe they hit and killed one. I don't know. Sorry, Pete.
Was that?
So yeah, maybe they scored it based on the bird they killed on that hole or hit.
So before I don't want to get too technical, I want to ask like
Yes.
if I'm watching the Masters,
Yes.
right? And that's the Super Bowl of golf really when it comes
Yes.
down to it. I'm
Correct.
watching it. Here's like I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about like how do I talk about golf at a Masters party or another event or whatever golf tournament if I don't know a lot? So kind of how would I fake it? So some of those things I might talk about would be like par 3, par 4. That would
Yes.
be a great way to do that.
That's massive. That's huge.
You think that's kind of like when you go on the golf course, is that sort of one of the bigger things you talk about?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then, yeah, and if you can know the scoring system, that's huge too.
Okay.
Is that way if you can tell the score. And can we just go over the bad scores real quick before we
So
get
you
too
have
far?
birdie, 1 under par, eagle, 2 under par,
Yes. And then the bad
and then
ones.
we're going the other way, plus ups.
So yeah, if you got these shots, it would be a plus on there, which in normal sports would be a good thing, but it's not good in golf.
Okay.
So bogey is 1 shot over. So if you had a par 3 and you got it in 4 shots, that would be a bogey.
Okay.
And then get this one, a double bogey
Woo.
would be 2 shots over par. So if you were a par 3, you'd have a 5.
Okay.
And then that it obviously goes up from there, and you don't want to go up from there. Most people, when they play, they put like a cap, like double or triple bogey. That's it. You don't shoot any worse.
Okay. So sometimes they'll be like, okay, this is
Not in the pros,
mercy
obviously,
rule.
but if we were golfing, I would probably have a double bogey rule that if you got there, you just stop.
Okay. I
And
like
that
this.
makes
I
things
like this.
much easier. Yes.
So if I'm walking into, here's one I have that I don't understand.
Yes.
So if I'm going to play in a golf tournament,
Yes.
people are like, it's a scramble. What
Mhm.
the heck is a scramble besides something I'm having for breakfast? I
So
don't know.
scramble's a little bit easier than playing by yourself. Maybe you're
Okay.
going to be in a team, maybe of 2 to 4 people. And basically, the way you would play it is you kind of play best ball every shot.
Okay.
So your teammate, whoever hit the best ball, you would just play off that ball and shoot from there.
Okay. So scramble and best ball are the same thing.
Mostly, yes.
Mostly, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And then there's all different rules you can have, which are we don't need to get into that now. But a scramble is a lot easier than playing by yourself. I prefer scramble because I can hit some good shots, and then I rely on other people to hit good shots.
Okay.
So it's basically, yeah, you're playing the best ball on your team, whether it's 2 to 4 people. It makes it easier, quicker, and more fun if you have a team environment. You get the group going. Because typically you're playing with 4 people on a
Okay.
golf round.
Okay. Otherwise, I'm trying to think of some of the things that I hear when I'm at golf tournaments.
Yes,
I'm going to meet you on the 19th hole is the bar, right?
that is the bar. There's 18 holes in a golf tournament. 19th hole would be the bar. If someone says the ninth green at 9, that is a Happy Gilmore reference where they make him get dressed up in the suit and he goes on to the ninth green and the sprinklers turn on.
Oh, at
So
9
don't fall
p.m.
for that
Got
one.
it.
Do not go to the ninth
Not
green at 9.
okay.
19th hole, good. 19th hole at 9, bad.
Got it. Okay. Got it. Tell me what people talk about a handicap. What does that mean?
So that is for experienced golfers. That's how they kind of judge your score to par. So if you're like a 10 handicap, that's really good. So you're typically shooting like that's your handicap of 10 over par, basically would get you to par.
So is that like an average of
Mhm.
your
Your scores. There's a whole app that obviously everything's an app now that you just enter your score and it automatically gives you a handicap. And that's why you see like pro golfers don't really have handicaps because they're that good. But
okay.
most avid golfers that play a lot will have a handicap. Good ones are in the single digits.
Okay.
So that's like your range to par, basically.
So it's
I
like
do not have a handicap.
I was gonna say, like,
It's
is
not
there
a
like
bad thing. No.
but like is there a thing that you would say like over you wouldn't talk about it if it's over a certain number?
Probably like 15 to 20.
Okay, so if
And
you're
you would
at a
probably
quantity where
lie.
you're not
You would
really gonna
probably
just
lie anyways to tell people. Most
okay,
likely going to lie about that. Yes.
got it. Okay, that makes sense.
So I mean, yeah, that all those topics right there, that will get you through a golf tournament. Easy, no problem.
And the drink cart person.
And the cart lady, yes. Or man, drink person. Drink person, yes.
Are there rules when we're at a golf tournament, we're playing
Mhm.
in a golf tournament? What kind of things, even if we're an observer, we're not playing,
Yes.
that we should be mindful of?
Mhm. If you're at a golf tournament, which we've been to a few together, actually, the PGA Championship at Southern Hills, which was very lovely. There you go. Look at that.
I
You
pretend I
were
golf.
you were a golf lady for a weekend.
Yep.
Typical, you're not going to talk in anyone's backswing. You're not going to take pictures in someone's backswing.
And a backswing is when I go back to
To swing,
swing,
yes.
quite literally. Okay.
Yes, and if you're watching a tournament, you'll see professional golfers. It's hard for me to take seriously because I'm not very good. But if they hear someone talk or take a picture or they're in their line of sight, you're going to get yelled at.
Okay.
So be quiet when someone swings.
Okay.
And then a nice golf clap, a very quiet clap. So that's pretty standard. You'll see professionals will have people thrown out. Their caddies will yell at them.
Okay. But
Typically, if you're in a scramble, you're with friends usually, so it's
but
pretty
be
casual.
respectful. Don't talk
Yes.
in people's backswing.
Be
Okay.
respectful, yes.
Okay. What about driving the cart on the green? Is that a thing?
That is not a good thing. That is
Okay.
highly frowned upon.
Okay.
There is
And
a president that plays golf a lot that is known to drive his cart on the green at his own courses.
and that's because like it changes the grass. Is that why?
Yes,
Okay.
it can mess up the grass. The greens are very prestigious. And to circle back, the green is the short grass area around the hole, which is
Okay.
where you want to hit the ball, and that's where you want to end up. Yes.
And then if you hit it in the rough, is that the longer grass on the outside?
Yes, and the longer grass makes it harder to hit the ball, obviously, because you're dealing with lots of different variables, grass length and things like that. The less friction, the less resistance to hitting the ball, the better.
Got it. That makes sense. Okay. Well, what I want to ask, do you have any more tips on that one? On any more things I shouldn't do?
If someone's putting, you don't want to walk in front of their putt, in front of
Okay.
their line. So if someone's 10 feet away and you walk in front of them before they putt or like step on their line, that's very bad.
Because once again, that screws up the grass.
Yes, and you want to remain like motionless on the green when people are putting. You don't want to be sprinting around yelling.
Makes sense.
Yes.
So I want to know, this is something I know really nothing about, minus you gave me a driver once when I lived by
Mhm.
myself in case I needed to kick someone's butt.
Yes.
What golf clubs am I putting? I'm probably renting them at this case if it's me, right? I'm renting them.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a full set, which is how many golf clubs and how many of them do I really use? Like, I don't give me a little
Full
golf
set.
club 101.
Full set can vary based on your skill level, and I mean you can have tons of different clubs. If you have an avid golfer who's a 5 handicap, he's probably gonna have a ton of different clubs that you
Okay.
don't. If you're just starting out, you don't necessarily need. And if you have the option to tune into YouTube, you can tune in right now. I'm going to show you what a driver looks like. It's got the bigger head,
Come this way a little bit.
obviously,
There we
this
go.
way.
Okay,
So
so that's like something we could whack someone with. It's a huge club.
yes, you'll notice how big it is because this is
Yep.
what you're hitting your first shot of the hole.
Okay, that's to get it the furthest.
Yes, you want it to go far, which is the tee or the tee box, which would be the starting line if you will.
Okay.
Like a track starting line or a NASCAR starting line, the tee box.
And one
And
thing on the
typically
tee.
you're going to hit this,
Go ahead.
and not on a par 3 usually.
Okay.
So this is going to be a par 4, par 5 typically.
And when you walk into the tee box, if
Mhm.
I remember correctly, there are 3 tees. There's typically a ladies or a starter tee.
Yes.
There's a
and
regular
then-
tee, and is there like a professional tee?
Yes, so it's usually like yellow, blue, and black.
Okay.
So we're not going to say women's tees, we'll say amateur tees.
Okay, amateur. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've heard it called the ladies tee, so I'm amateur.
I don't know
tee.
if that's offensive nowadays,
It
but
is
yeah.
offensive because Nelly Corda can probably kick everyone's butt who normally golfs on that.
Correct. Yes, she's quite the exception. So yeah, the driver is typically what you're going to hit your first shot with on the par 3, par 4, and you're going to use a tee,
Okay.
which you tee the ball up to about here, and that way it gives you more clearance to hit the ball further.
That makes sense. Less resistance, as you told us
Less
about.
resistance.
The
Yes,
tiny human thinks they look like crochet hooks, so there you go.
they look like crochet hooks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we have the irons, which are going to be usually your second, third, or fourth shot.
Okay.
As you can see, the head is much different,
Okay.
and that's just because you're closer to the hole. You're
So
not
you
going to hit it
got
as far. Yes, and these vary 5, 6, 7, 8, 9
and
distances. Yes, and it
and that
depends on how
vary
far you hit it. Yes,
is that variance the weight? Is it the angle? Is it a little bit of both?
both
Okay.
angle and weight. Yeah. So this one,
Okay.
like for me, a 7 iron, I can hit about like I don't want to brag, but like 150 to 180
Okay.
would be what I can hit a 7.
Okay.
So it would be a second or third shot, and you don't use a tee after the first shot.
Okay. And then we have what, like a wedge and a
A
putter, right?
wedge, yeah, like a pitching wedge and a putter, which a pitching wedge, the loft is the angles are steeper, so the ball goes up a little
So
bit
like to get it
further.
out of a
Yes.
sand trap or something.
And that would be like your approach shot to the green. So like your third or fourth shot probably on
Get
a
it
par
up and
four.
over and okay.
Yes.
That makes sense.
And then we have the prestigious putter, which there's all kinds of variations of putters, but they're going to have a flat head like this.
Okay.
That way you hit the ball square. And that's going to be your last shot on the hole typically, unless you had a hole in one or something silly.
Got it.
Yeah.
Do I have to wear golf shoes when I golf or can I wear regular shoes?
Golf shoes are encouraged because they have little spikes, which is going to help you when you're hitting. You're not going to slide around and fly all over the grass.
Okay.
So it's more for like balance and just stability.
Got it. Okay. Any do's and don'ts on what I should or shouldn't wear at the golf course?
Things have gotten a lot more relaxed nowadays, I think, with the explosion of golf. A lot of people are playing. Now you can get away with shorts and like a polo shirt, like we have from Southern Hills and the PJ Championship, and a hat and golf shoes. It's pretty. There are obviously strict courses where prestigious memberships, so you have to wear like pants and fancy outfits, but typically you can get away with shorts, polo, and a hat.
Okay. And for a female, can I get away with like a tank top or do I have to wear does it have to have a collar?
They make like nowadays they make like tank top collared shirts for
Yep.
women and
Okay.
men, I guess technically if they really wanted to show off their guns.
That's true. I mean, if
Yeah,
there's no rules about that, then I mean, why not?
and if
Okay.
unless you're at the Waste Management Open, you're not typically taking your shirt off unless you make a hole in one on the 16th hole. Then you can take your shirt off.
Okay, well, there's that. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the fun part of golf. I want to talk a
Yes.
little bit about like obviously we have so many movies out there.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Gilmore is coming out this summer, two, I should say.
Now we get more
We have
too.
so many great movies. We have all these celebrities that golf: Justin Timberlake, Steph Curry, Tom Brady. You insert person here; they typically golf.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about the American Century Championship. This is a celebrity golf tournament where literally everyone shows up, and that's in Lake
Yes.
Tahoe. This is a fun, like, this might as well be the Met Gala of golf when it comes to
Yes.
the celebrity standards.
Yeah, it's mostly like you said, athletes, movie stars, comedians, just out there having fun. It's more of a party atmosphere. They're shooting usually one of the holes has a basketball hoop on it and they're shooting baskets while they're hitting shots. It's just more of a party and you get to see these athletes. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but they're out there playing like pros with people standing very close to them, which is quite scary because a lot of these guys are not pros. So, you know how like they line the tee box, that's
Mhm.
terrifying. I was listening to Ray Romano had a interview a few days ago and he was talking about how nerve-wracking it is. He's hit like multiple people.
Well, right, because if you're not good, you don't know which way your
Oh,
ball's
it's
gonna go.
terrifying. I would not be standing anywhere close to these people, but
Okay.
yeah, it's more of a fun thing. You'll see Charles Barkley golf bad. I think Steph won it last year. Steph Curry's a very good golfer.
He's a phenomenal golfer.
He could probably get on the edge of making the tour if he quit basketball today.
Maybe he will.
And maybe that's his retirement plan, and he
Maybe
can
so.
drink his bourbon and play golf.
Yep, his gentleman cuts bourbon. Yep.
And
Okay.
I'll just get one quick thing about the Tahoe. They have
Yeah.
a completely different scoring system where pluses are good. So
Okay.
it's a real mind-boggling thing for normal golf fans.
Well, that's
So
interesting.
you get
I've
points.
never watched
Yeah,
this.
so you have a positive score there. It's a completely different scoring system. So don't let that fool you if you do
Oh,
watch it.
very good point. I appreciate that. Talk to me about a couple names we need to know in golf. Obviously, everyone knows who Tiger Woods is. I
Yes.
talked a little bit about Nelly Korda. Give me a Nelly Korda 101 if you can.
So she's one of the top female golfers, on and off number one in the world. Very athletic family. Her sister is a golfer. Her brother's a pro tennis player. Her parents were pro athletes. I think her dad won the Australian Open as a tennis player. So
Really?
extremely, extremely athletic family. Very gifted. but she's American. I think we've talked about it before. Her swing is one of the most like pure swings you're ever going to see. It's just the same every time, just very slow and fluid. And if you're golfing, you really don't want to have a fast backswing. You want to be slower through. Yeah, the
Methodical, if you
slower the
will?
better. Let the club do the work, as they'll tell you.
Okay.
So she's the one to know on the women's side. She's one of the bigger golfers on the women's side. Yes.
Okay, so we have Nelly. As we wind it down, we have Scotty Scheffler,
Hmm.
who is just phenomenal.
On
I
fire,
mean,
yes.
just yeah, he's on fire.
And he's one of the most humble, like most relaxed guys off the course you're ever going to meet. He drove a 10-year-old Suburban with 200,000 miles on it up until last year when he won like $75 million playing. So
That's impressive.
yeah, so he's obviously the name to know. Tiger's on his way out, and they're looking to find a new star, basically, the game of golf.
Well, we have Scotty for right now, and we've got some other big names coming up. Last one I want because people who are watching golf, tennis has the same sort of word, a major,
Yes,
right? Tennis they call them a grand slam, but they also call them a major. What
yes.
is a major in golf?
So major, there's tournaments all throughout the year that are just they're random tournaments. There's some that are elevated tournaments that have higher pay. But in majors, there's 4 major tournaments throughout the year. And we talk about the Masters is always in Augusta. That's the first one. Then we have the PGA Championship, which rotates courses in America. The US Open, which rotates courses in America. And the US Open's unique because you can have amateurs qualify through the USGA and play with the pros, which is really cool.
Okay, that's very cool. Head to the
And they
open.
have the longest day in golf, which is the week before, is 36 holes in one day. And if you reach like the top few, you qualify for the tournament, which is ridiculous. So a
Qualify.
standard round is 18. So
Yeah.
you have to play 36 holes in one day.
Wow.
So it's really intense. But that's the unique part about that one is an amateur can qualify. And then we have the British Open or the Open, which is going to be played over in Europe. And their courses are much different because of the weather and just the conditions. They're typically more wide open. They don't have like desert landscapes where you lose your ball. It's more wide open, mostly green.
Got it.
So those are the 4 on the men's side, and those are the most prestigious.
So one question I have,
Mhm.
when you're a PGA golfer, which means you have qualified for a certain ranking essentially
Yes,
to be able to get into these tournaments, they don't use golf carts,
they do not.
right?
So it's typically a standard golfer like myself or just a casual golfer is going to be able to have a cart and ride around and not think anything of it. But a pro is going to have to walk the full 18. And a pro tournament in the PGA is 4 days. So you're walking 18 holes a day. And then the good thing is you have a caddy who's basically your coach, who's carrying your clubs, who has all the information. They have, books that they study these greens and holes like scientists, and they're carrying your bag for you, which is
What is
good.
what does a golf bag weigh? Because they probably have a lot of golf clubs. So what's
I
like
mean,
40?
depending on what you have, yeah, it can be. You have snacks in there, you have waters.
That's true.
It can be very heavy. So these guys are very strong to walk 18 holes a day,
That's interesting.
and they're giving the guy tips. It's basically his coach on the course.
Fascinating. So yeah, he may not be he's um one in conjunction with they probably have different kinds of coaches, but they're one in
Yes,
conjunction with those and relaying that
yes,
information.
and these guys are probably extremely good golfers that know everything, but just didn't weren't good enough to make it.
And they get paid a percentage of the winnings typically? Is that how that
I
works?
I forgot the percentage. It might be 5%, 10%,
Okay.
give or take,
I was
and
gonna
that's
say 10, but
typically
okay.
an arrangement they have with their caddy. I think
Okay.
Scotty Scheffler's caddy last year would have been the highest paid player based on his winnings.
Okay. Well,
So
there's that. When you win
yeah,
$65 million in prize money in 1 year,
yeah. So it pays to have a
5% is not bad.
not at all, no.
No.
So yeah, we're not gonna have caddies. Some courses force you to have caddies. I've told you my horror story.
Can you tell it really quick? I know we're, like, way over what we
Yeah,
normally would do, but I love
at
this story so much.
prestigious course in Las Vegas, Shadow Creek. It's very expensive and very prestigious. They give you a caddy, and I was just starting golfing. I was not very good, and the caddy was not very nice to me. And he told me he was the worst golfer he'd ever seen, other than Tom Cruise. So me and Tom have something in common.
I mean, Tom jumps off buildings, you do podcasts, it's fine,
It's the same, yeah.
but
So
you're a better golfer than he is.
correct.
Well, thank you for sharing your insights in the world of golf. I know there are so many questions that
Mhm.
you may have listening to this. We'll put together a guide itself to keep up on our website, but also DM us on social with questions you
Yes.
may have. We're happy to answer them for you. If you're getting ready to go to a golf tournament and you're like, oh my gosh, it's something different than a scramble. What the heck does that mean? DM us. We'll answer those questions for you. So thank you for sharing your golf wisdom with us.
Yes. Thank you for having me.